The night the ocean bled, Babatunde heard crying that made his ancestors' bones ache. He found her in the mangroves where the river kissed the sea, a dying mermaid with torn scales and a wailing infant clutched to her breast. "Fisherman!" she gasped, blood darkening the water. "I have been watching you for years. You are the one who must raise my daughter." The baby was perfect, beautifully human, except for eyes too deep and dark, holding secrets no infant should know. "I am old," Babatunde said. "My wife is dead. I have no milk. Mama Ama lost her child 3 days ago. She will nurse my daughter." The mermaid pressed a glowing conch shell into his palm. "But there are 3 conditions you must keep." Babatunde's heart raced. In all his grandmother's stories, conditions from the water people were never simple. "What conditions?" "I cannot tell you." The mermaid's grip tightened on his wrist, her touch burning cold. "If I tell you now, fear will poison everything. But if you raise her with genuine love, the conditions will reveal themselves when needed. The shell will guide you. And if I break one, she will be dragged to the depths before her time, transformed but incomplete, trapped between 2 forms, suffering forever, and you will follow her, pulled by guilt, into a watery grave." "That's madness. You want me to raise a child with death hanging over us both?" "I'm asking you to love her. Truly love her. Not possess her, not control her, just love her. The conditions exist to protect that love, not destroy it." She pressed the infant into his arms. "Trust me, fisherman." The baby stopped crying instantly, her impossible eyes locking onto his face. "Her name? In our tongue, Nyota, but call her Amina. Let her grow in light before she learns the darkness." The mermaid's body began to shimmer. "When the shell goes completely dark, bring her to this exact spot. 18 years, fisherman. You have 18 years to prepare her." Then she dissolved into sea foam, leaving only the crying child and the pulsing shell. Babatunde told the village Amina's mother died in childbirth. Not entirely a lie. Mama Ama, grieving her own lost infant, took the baby to her breast with tears of joy. That night, words carved themselves into Babatunde's mind as he held the glowing shell. Amina grew like wildfire, speaking in full sentences by age 2, predicting storms days before they came. Fish swam to her in the shallows, dolphins surfaced to let her touch their noses. "She's blessed," Mama Ama would say. "She's cursed," old Shenonso would mutter. No child should speak to fish. Everything seemed fine until her 5th birthday. The children were playing at the deep swimming hole, and Amina ran to join them. At the edge, where the bottom dropped away, she stopped as if hitting an invisible wall. Her body went rigid, tears streaming down her face. "I can't," she sobbed. "Something won't let me." The shell in Babatunde's pocket had turned ice cold. As Amina grew, the barrier became torture. Other children swam freely while she could only watch from the shallows, longing so intense it hurt to witness. "Amina can't swim. Even little Kwaku can dive deeper," the boys would taunt. Worse than mockery was the pull. She would stand at the deep water's edge, crying, homesick for a place she'd never been. By age 10, she was asking questions. "Papa, why am I different? There's something wrong with me, isn't there?" That night, the second condition revealed itself. "There's nothing wrong with you," he said carefully. "But the water calls to you differently than others. When you're older, you'll understand why. Until then, trust there's a good reason. You're keeping a secret." "Yes, the biggest secret. But I'll tell you when you're ready." The shell pulsed warmly. He had walked the line correctly. At 13, Amina's skin began gleaming like wet pearl. Her hair moved as if in invisible currents. Her eyes grew darker, deeper, until looking into them was like looking into the ocean's soul. She dreamed every night of swimming in impossible depths with beautiful women with silver tails. She would wake gasping, sheets soaked with salt water. "They're calling me home, Papa, but I don't know where home is." The shell was dimming. 5 years left, maybe less. At 16, she stopped pretending. "I'm not human, am I? You are my daughter. Everything else is just details. Details that define everything. I'm lonely, Papa. The humans think I'm strange, and the sea calls but won't let me answer. Where do I belong?" That night, the shell was half as dim as before. The storm came sudden and impossible, because Amina always knew when storms were coming. But this wasn't natural. Beneath the thunder, dozens of voices sang from the deep, calling, summoning, demanding. Babatunde found her waist deep in churning water, her legs shimmering, starting to merge, scales appearing on her skin. "Amina." She turned, eyes completely black. "They're here, Papa, my sisters. They've come to take me home." "It's not time. The shell hasn't gone dark." "I don't care. I can't live half a life anymore. I choose the water." "If you go now, you'll be incomplete. At least I'll finally belong somewhere." Shapes rose from deeper water, beautiful mermaids with sad, ancient eyes. "Let her come," one called. "She suffers on land." Then young Chidi's screams cut through the storm. His boat had capsized beyond the reef. Everyone could see the rescue boats would never reach him in time. "I can save him," Amina gasped. "Papa, I know exactly where he is. I know the currents. If you let me transform, I can—" "No, it's not time. A child is dying," she screamed in his face. "You talk about love and purpose. Let me show love. Let me save him." Chidi's screams were fading. Babatunde suddenly understood the third condition. You must trust her to choose. He let go. "Save him," he said, voice breaking. "Show me what you are." Amina dove forward. Mid-dive, her transformation completed in a burst of silver light. Legs became tail, skin erupted in scales, and she shot through the impossible storm faster than any human could swim. She reached Chidi, held his head above water, and towed him back to shore with supernatural strength. Then she didn't return to the water. She stood in the shallows, tail slowly shifting back to legs, and looked at the gathered villagers who had witnessed everything. "I am Amina," she said clearly, "daughter of Baba Tunde, daughter of the sea. I am both, and I choose both." The mermaids in deeper water began singing, not a call but a celebration. Baba Tunde pulled out the shell. It had gone completely dark. Then it began glowing again, differently, with the warm golden radiance of sunrise. As dawn broke, the village gathered. Chidi was alive, and everyone had seen what Amina was. Old Chinonzo stepped forward. "So I was right. You are water spirit." "I am. My mother was a mermaid killed by hunters. She gave me to Baba Tunde to raise. I'm sorry I deceived you." "Will you leave us now?" Mama Ama asked, tears falling. Amina looked at her family, then at the waiting mermaids. "My mother was wise. She knew if I grew only in the sea, I'd never understand land. If I stayed only on land, I'd never understand my true nature. She forced me to be both, so I could learn that the greatest strength isn't choosing one side, but honoring both. Being the bridge, not the barrier." A mermaid swam closer. "Your mother hoped you would understand this. We need someone who can protect the boundary between sea and shore, who can speak for us to land people and for land people to us. That is what she dreamed for you." Baba Tunde held out the glowing shell. The conditions weren't restrictions, they were preparation. Amina took it, understanding blooming across her face. The first condition forced me to live as human, to love humans before I could become mare. The second let me discover myself gradually instead of living in fear. The third made you trust me to choose for myself. I nearly failed the last one, Babatunde admitted. But you didn't. You let go. You trusted me. She embraced him. Thank you, Papa, for every condition you kept, even without understanding why. So what now? Old Chinonso asked gruffly. I'll be your guardian and theirs. I'll warn you of storms, ensure good fishing, protect your children from sea dangers, and protect my sisters from hunters. I choose both worlds, which means I choose you too, always. The villagers murmured, then Chinonso nodded. We accept, but I want it known. I called this 17 years ago. Everyone laughed, tension breaking. 3 months later, Babatunde stood on the shore at dawn, and Amina rose from the waves to greet him, magnificent in her true form, shifting between woman and mare at will. Good morning, Papa. A hunter ship passed 2 days ago, but I warned my sisters and sent a storm to drive it away. You're getting good at this guardian business. I had a good teacher. You taught me that love isn't about possession, it's about trust. They sat watching the sun paint the water gold. Papa, do you ever regret taking me that night? All the fear, all the uncertainty? Babatunde looked at his daughter, this magnificent creature who belonged to 2 worlds and enriched both. Not for one single moment, you taught this old fisherman that sometimes the most precious treasures come with conditions, and keeping those conditions is what makes the treasure worth having. I love you, Papa. And I love you, my daughter, my bridge between worlds. As Amina slipped back into the waves, she sang a song that was both human lullaby and mermaid prayer, a sound that spoke of 2 worlds finding harmony at last. And in Babatunde's pocket, the shell pulsed warmly, not with a countdown anymore, but with a promise kept. Moral lessons. True love accepts conditions we don't fully understand, trusting they serve a greater purpose. The restrictions placed on us by wisdom are not chains, but roots to ground us until we're strong enough to flourish. Identity isn't about choosing between worlds, it's about honoring all parts of yourself. The greatest strength lies in being the bridge. The hardest part of love isn't protecting someone from danger, it's learning when to let go. The final test of love is trusting you've prepared them to make their own choices. Sometimes impossible conditions lead to extraordinary outcomes. What seems like a burden may be a blessing in disguise, shaping us into exactly who we need to become. Babatunde kept 3 conditions he didn't understand and created not just a daughter, but a guardian, not just a bridge between worlds, but hope for both. That is the power of faithful love, patient wisdom, and trust in the face of impossible conditions. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Would you have accepted the mermaid's conditions? What would you have done differently? Drop your thoughts below